of brand yourself as a person who is possibly looking to join the working world. So Kelly, go ahead.
Hey, hi, how's everyone doing? I can't see anyone, so I'm going to be talking to you, Matt.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah, I started out my career, wow, long time ago, and I worked for a newspaper in Pittsburgh. I worked for, did some freelancing early on for Newsweek, Associated Press, and then took a job at USA Today, where I ended up being the news desk team leader. So I did that pretty much right out of school. And then after a while in journalism, what I started doing is like getting it more into like marketing and PR. And I've bounced back and forth. I think if you're in journalism, you just like always, once a journalist, someone told me once a journalist, always a journalist. So you never really give that up. So if you see something happening, you're always like, wait, I got to put this on Medium or my blog or something. I was one of the first bloggers, probably like the first 10 bloggers ever. And I think that came from just, being a journalist and wanting to put stuff online. So that happened. And then, from my marketing and PR experience, as soon as, Facebook, which was called the Facebook, and Friendster and all of that started, I don't know, I started like really getting into social media, because social media is really like mini reporting. So, if you're tweeting or you're posting something on Facebook or LinkedIn, it's really like a blog or a news story, but in, X number of characters. So there's a little bit of background on me. Now I'm like really into the social media, and we do consulting for some news organizations, for NGOs, companies. We work with a lot of tech companies. As far as NGOs go, that's like working on campaigns for the United Nations and things like that. A lot of our clients are pretty huge. We're technically we're based in Delaware, but we have people all over the country. I really, like using technology. We do a lot of virtual meetings and things. And so our social media managers are in Philadelphia, Atlanta, where else? DC, all over the place. But here we do have a core team here in Morgantown, West Virginia, which I put here because I'm from here and I like being close to home. So is that good? Is that good? Is that good? It's kind of like where I started, and now here's where I am.
Did I lose you, Kelly?
Nope, you didn't lose me. I'm just wondering, do you want me to keep talking?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I mean, does anyone have any questions so far on anything?
Does anybody have any questions about? Go ahead. Where did you start your blog at, Kelly?
Well, I started my blog on, I look like I'm too bright. Am I too bright?
No, I think you're okay.
Oh, okay. From here, I look like a ghost. I look like a ghost when I'm looking.
You are a little bright, but you're not that bad.
Okay. Well, I started my first blog just online. So back before social media existed, people would post on like message boards. They were like called these BBS boards, kind of like Reddit. Like that's basically all we had. So I was on there, and then I kind of built up like a little bit of a following. And I don't know what inspired this, but I thought I learned how to do some coding, like some HTML. So I put up a web page, and I put up daily updates as if anyone really cared what I was doing. So I just started, putting a daily update up there. When internet connections were strong enough to have a webcam, every once in a while I would go online. Every time 60 people got on there, I mean, it was just me sitting in an office. It was nothing. But, sometimes people would ask questions. Um, as soon as about like 55 or 60 people would get on the webcam, though, everyone would get booted off. And then I have to like reboot the thing because technology, it was like dial up. It was like, so that's why I started it. But then what happened since I had that is blogging software had started, and then Google acquired a thing called Blogger, which still exists at blogger.com, and you can blog there. So they asked me to put my blogs at blogger.com, and that then made me a Google influencer before influencer was a word. So I was basically like poster child for Google back then. Along with like other people who were doing similar things who they brought in. And as perks, we got things like our own email address. So I have like my name, Kellyann@gmail for an email address. So like we didn't like get money, we just got like an email address. But we got to pick it, and we got the Gmail address. I think I have a Google address too. And it's like before it was open to the public. So we got little perky things like that. Plus, because of that, I got to meet a lot of cool people. So I got to meet like people, the guy who started pop-up blockers. Like before you couldn't block pop-ups, he created that. I met.
What do you mean by pop-up blockers?
Okay, you know how an ad will pop up on your screen?
Yeah.
And now you can disable that because you have software on your computer that can disable pop-ups.
Yeah.
So my friend James, he started that. He did that. And he's like, this is annoying. And then my other friend, Philip, he had the most active message board back then, and that was social media. So people didn't have anywhere to go, but as the internet connections got faster, people were popping up these message boards. So he popped one up, and it was the most popular one in the world. And I was on there, posting about whatever. I don't even know what I was posting about. Probably like what I was eating. It was like Instagram, but not. And then that became popular. He was like on the cover of Yahoo magazine and all that stuff. And so Philip was getting really frustrated. So really this whole thing with James, with the pop-ups, kind of linked to Philip. So what happened is all these people were on this message board, and he was making money off of ads from the traffic, Philip was. And so the nerds on the message board, they were like, we don't like seeing these ads. So, they were all like coming up with code to block the ads, which made Philip mad. So then he'd put pop-ups and then like the pop-up blockers. And then, so Philip, though, actually ended up creating text ads like you see on Google when you search and you see text ads on Google. So Philip started that. I ended up working with like the co-founder of AOL later. So I was just really lucky to like be in that world. I got to work with like one of the guys who created like the first search engine, which was like really crazy. So there's cool. a long answer to a simple question. But since I was around at that time doing this stuff, I got to meet like all the people who were doing this stuff, or almost all of them.
Does anybody else have any questions? Any questions? Okay, go ahead. I don't think so. Go ahead. Go ahead. No.
Okay.
Not for now.
So that was basically social media before social media. And then a little something popped up called Friendster. I remember I was in I was at a dinner, and there were some guys there, and they were asking for money. They were like, we need money because we developed this thing. And this thing is like a website. And when you're on it, you're 6 degrees of separation away from anyone in the entire world. And we were like, what? That's crazy, you know, because they were trying to show that, you know, you're connected to almost anyone in the world through, you know, your 6 degrees of separation from anyone. And I remember being like, even Madonna, I'm like, really? I mean, come on, you know? So Friendster ended up getting money, and they ended up being one of the very first social networks. Then there was MySpace and a gazillion others. And Facebook is really what Friendster was. I mean, it's like the same thing. So early social media from a dinosaur. The early social media story.
Talk a little bit about what you do now, Kelly.
Okay. So now.
What's the name of your company again?
Okay. So now my company is called Volt Lab. And, you know, I've had a couple of companies and they all involve social media in one way or another. So Volt Lab, the last company I had was social media, but for the masses. It was a blog and we were just kind of giving everything away and not making that much money. So, I mean, we were making money, but, you know, it's hard to monetize news these days. You have to do all these co-branded partnerships and things, which like I wasn't really into being like an old news person. I don't know. I have issues with that. I don't know about you, Matt. I'm weird with the co-branded stuff.
Yes.
Which is basically like a brand pays you to write about them. So I was kind of like not totally into that. Anyway, stopped doing the blog and people started coming to me and they were like, can you do what you did for that company for my company? And then that's how this company got started. So, you know, what we do is we do social media content, graphic design, the written stuff, like the messaging for ads and all the posts that you see online. And then we do videos, huge demand for videos these days. So we're working with a couple of videographers now. We've got 3. We have a video editor now, and we have a couple of videographers. So we're actually starting to like script video now since it's like a big thing. Other than that, what else do? We do a lot of advertising too on social media.
And just as an FYI, Kelly has got what, 62,000 followers on Twitter. And yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I have 150 some thousand total on everything.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
But I'm going for 1 million. I need to get for 1 million. Okay. I got to get to the milli. Yeah. But yeah, I think 60 some. I get about 100 new followers a day on Twitter. LinkedIn, I don't know how many I have. Maybe 10,000 there, I think, total. You know, between my followers and my connections and all that stuff. Which brings us to LinkedIn, which is like social media, but like Facebook is kind of like what you use with your friends and family, and you know, Instagram is kind of like that. And then Twitter is more for like breaking news and, you know, I'm out and about live tweeting. But then you have LinkedIn, which is, this is me, this is my job, and this is kind of like a living, ongoing resume type of thing. I think is maybe the best way to describe it. It's like LinkedIn is like if your resume had a community around it. So,
are you going to present something on that, right?
Yes, I can show you some LinkedIn. Does anybody have LinkedIn right now?
Does anybody have LinkedIn right now on their phones? A few hands are raised, I believe.
Okay. Is anyone really like into it and using it a lot?
Is anybody using it a lot? Yes? No? No? Yes? Moderately? Okay, we got a moderately in the audience.
Okay, awesome. Okay. Okay. All right. So I can share my screen with you, but I mean, I guess first is, you know, like especially, you know, when you're in college, when you get out or like when you're ready to graduate, LinkedIn is going to be a great resource for you because you can not only present yourself there, but you can look for jobs there. And it's also where potential employers are going to look. So like anytime someone applies for a job with us, we have somebody who helps with HR, and she's always like, have you checked their LinkedIn yet? And I'm like, no. But it's the first place employers will go. So she always goes on there. She sees like how many connections are they using it, where have they worked. So in addition to just the job information, employers are looking at like what you're posting. And I can share my screen if you want to do a little walkthrough or if anybody has questions.
Sure. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do that. Nope.
That's you. Okay. How's this? Can you see that?
That's a little bit small. That's your screen is.
Okay. What if I do something like this?
Your screen is not all of my screen, but anyway.
That helps.
Kind of low. Yeah. How did we bounce out of that?
Is that better?
Can anybody see that? Anybody see that in the back? Yeah, you can see that? Okay.
I can make it, I can blow it up.
Okay.
If needed.
That's fine. I think the people in the back can see, yeah? Can you read the screen? If you can't, move up. I don't know why, but your screen goes down low, and I don't know how to get it up on the projection for some reason. I'm not sure. But anyway, can you see it? Can people see it? Yes? Okay, yes. I think we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn. We'll use it as an example. I won't put anyone on the spot and pull theirs up. So, I mean, basically, your LinkedIn profile is a mix of, a handful of things. So, first of all, you have your title with a little description. And then just like any other social media, a cover photo, and then your profile photo. And we consult CEOs on, how to set up their LinkedIn and how to present who they are to the world. So a big part of this is your summary. And a lot of people don't fill that out, but it's really important to put a little summary of yourself, even if you don't have a lot to put there. I would put something and say, I've been attending, school, or I'm currently in school, and here are my goals. This is what I want to do. This is what I've done, and it's important, to put that in there, because this is kind of like a cover letter. If you're applying for a job, it's a little intro, and it's important because it adds a human element to to your profile. You can also put samples of your work. So we put samples of our work that not we, I always say we, I. So, you can even link out to like different campaigns you've done. I did some stuff with Vampire Diaries Guy, people from Twilight. There's my old boss. But this is great, if you've had internships, to just, take a screenshot or a video or, whatever it was. It's good to, add some visual elements there. It's also cool because you can see who's looking at you. I don't know. I love to see who's viewed my profile. And when you're looking for a job, that would be interesting too, because you can see, who's looking at you. So say you applied for a job at like Tesla, and you'll be able to look and be like, oh, Elon Musk looked at me, then you at least know they're looking. I don't know. That's one of my favorite parts. Okay, you can also post articles and blogs. So, if you have something, or if you're doing assignments in class, like you might want to post them here so people can see examples of your work, or, if there's something, say a project that you're working on, or you have an internship, I wouldn't hesitate to blog about it and put it on LinkedIn so that potential employers and people, you know, in your industry will be able to look and see, you know, what you're doing. Of course, I'm big into remote work and telecommuting, so I had some stuff on there before about that. And then, you know, other than that, you know, this stuff, you know, you want to put your education, any certificates, diplomas, certifications, any volunteer experience, just so that you can show that you're, you know, well-rounded. Something else that's important too is, you know, you can post updates here. So depending on what industry you're in, you can post updates. That's going to keep people, you know, keep eyes on your profile. You can just see updates. Some people I'm following are posting. I don't. Okay, here's a girl I know. She just graduated from school at WVU, and so she wrote something at work at her new job, and then she's posting it here. So that's a perfect example of like something that you should do. So if you have an internship or class or something, because you could, if you do a story in this class, you could, you know, actually post it and be like, oh, I wrote an article just like she just did.
Excuse me, sorry. Coffee. Kelly, why is how important is it to have a good photo on your profile? If you could talk about putting profile photos on social media and why that's important, and just.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, if you don't have a photo, that's bad. People are going to think you're a spammer, or they're think that you're a fake account or something. Because people surprisingly do set up fake accounts on LinkedIn, which is odd, but they do, and they try to spam people. But yeah, you want to show who you are, and you want a photo that is, you know, professional looking. You don't want, you know, like a Saturday night party photo up here, like I have seen some people do, which is like very bad, very bad. You just want to make sure your face is, you know, in there, clear, people can see it. Also, these cover images, you can put a plain photo, you can put a quote that you like up here. It just shows more, you know, it's just a chance to showcase more about who you are.
And those images and branding things also go across other platforms, correct?
I would. I mean, you know, if you're looking for a job, recruiters are definitely looking, or, you know, or maybe it's, you know, people you're going to do business with after you graduate, like after you have a job. But, you know, when you're looking, they look at all social media. So if you have Instagram and you have things you don't want them to see, I would definitely make your account private, you know. Yeah, it applies to Instagram, Facebook, you know, anything like that. Like there have been people who I thought about hiring, and then we went in and looked at their Facebook, and they're like scary, you know, doing like weird stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm scared. I'm not hiring this person.
Yeah.
I know. I had like somebody who said she was a witch, and I was like, okay, yep, not hiring that one. I was like, she had it. So I was like, okay, no. But yeah, you just want to make sure that everything looks professional and lock down anything that you don't want people to see. This is important too, and it can also help you get followers, you know, find people. When I changed from DC to this area, I got about 300 new followers in a couple of days. It was in connection requests. It's also a great tool. So say you're looking for a job somewhere. Say you want to work, I'm using Tesla as an example. Oops, Tesla. You know, you can look at Tesla. You can learn more. You can see their updates. You can follow their updates. You can also look, say you're trying to get a job and you want to meet people. You can look and you can find people who work at Tesla, and you can, you know, you can reach out to them and maybe ask them for advice, or say, hey, I really want to, you know, work with you. Do you have any advice?
So you can really make connections beyond just the traditional means of applying for a job via this platform, right?
Right, right. Yeah, it can apply to business. It can apply for looking for a job. You can also apply for jobs here. So you can look and be like, oh, wait, they need a video producer. You can apply for the job here. That's why it's, also really important to make sure that your profile, looks good and that it's complete. Because, I mean, people are definitely, I mean, they're posting jobs here. Yeah, you can network with people in the company, learn more about the company. And then if you follow them, I'll go ahead and follow them. And if you follow them, you're not going to miss anything. And you'll also, LinkedIn will tell you if other people in your network are also following them. So you never know, you might meet someone who can help you.
Kelly, what do you say to students or even people who may just simply not be into social media, but do you feel like everybody should have a profile, or do you think is it an absolute must in today's society or not? What's your opinion about that?
It's a must, unless you're going to go hide from the world in some way, unless you're going to just go hide. I mean, if you want to get a job and you want to work and you want to network, here's the big thing. These days, a lot of companies, especially so say you want to work in journalism, a lot of these media organizations are looking to see how many followers people have on Twitter. They're looking at their LinkedIn, because after you get a job working for these companies, they're going to want you to tweet about your work or to post about your work. A lot of companies we consult, we'll work with their executives in the company, because these days every company wants you to be an ambassador for your company. And people who do, a great job with that, they end up making more money and getting the raises and the promotions and everything. So it's something to think about, growing your network for work.
Anybody have any questions so far? Any thoughts, questions? Okay, continue on, Kelly.
Okay. All right. No questions at all?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can keep talking. I can keep talking. We can talk about something else. We can
Did you want to cover branding a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. So, so what industries are people in the class? Like, so what are they studying? I'm wondering.
All comm majors or no? Yes? No. We got one guy who's in science, right? Computers. Criminal justice. Creative writing. Economics. And then comm, right? English. And communications, right? So it's all across the board. Did you catch that?
I did, yes. A whole bunch. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so when you're thinking about, what you want to post, I mean, the tricky thing about personal branding is you want to show your personality. You want to show who you are. You don't want to be completely just, stale and businessy, because things aren't like that anymore. Things are way more relaxed these days. So, and potential employers, they want to know who you are and what you care about. So let's say I'm working in, let me think, what was one of the fields? Criminal justice.
Computers or economics?
Computers, okay. Or tech, or let's say, I'm working in tech. So what you want to do is you want to have a mix of things. And I think of these as content themes. And if you're trying to figure out what to post, like for me, since I'm in marketing, I like to post things about marketing and follow people in the marketing world. So I'll post new things that are trending. I'll go to Google, I'll go to Google. Oops. and I'll find an article. I mean, I think you guys probably know how to do this. And I'll go like, okay, let's see what's happening in advertise. Or wait, Instagram. There's always some drama with Instagram. Oh yeah, so here's some news. Kim Kardashian says her process for accepting paid Instagram posts is changing. Okay, so here's a story. Say we want to post about this. You know, since I work in social media, this would be something that I could post, you know, as a news story. You know, if you're in, you know, economics, if there's something going on, you know, I post about that. If you're in, you know, computers, if there's something new or if there's some sort of new, you know, technology, I post about that. But then you can also mix in posts about yourself. So like content themes would be industry specific content. And then maybe it's where you live. So say maybe you live in New York City, or you live in Martinsburg or Morgantown, West Virginia, or Shepherdstown. You know, you can post things, you know, from your area, or you know, if you're a huge coffee lover, or if you really love coffee, or if you really love Red Bull, you know, maybe you want to mix in some posts like that. Like today's National Cappuccino Day. So even companies who are who don't normally post about that, here's a tech company, and on Twitter they're posting about, you know, productivity and coffee and cappuccino day. So I would pick a couple of different things, and, you know, just if you have questions about what to post, like industry, and then something else. Maybe it's a hobby or something that you really enjoy. As long as it's not, you know, partying with your friends.
And by doing that, it shows your followers and the people who view your profile what? What does it show them?
It shows that you are a well-rounded individual. It shows them you're someone that they would want to work with. It shows them that you're knowledgeable in your industry. You know, so you want to be knowledgeable in your industry, but you also, you know, want to be well-rounded.
And that you're basically connected and staying abreast, right?
Right, that you're on top of what's happening. Mm-hmm. Right. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Kennywood Park, but I was talking to the guy who does their social media, and he's like, how do you stay on top of everything? And I was like, well, I just read the news every single day, you know? So I'm always looking to see if there are any algorithm changes on Instagram or Twitter. You know, you just have to keep up, like here, you know, following people who post things about Adweek. I mean, this is something right here in my industry that I could share about the Popeyes chicken going viral.
What is with the Popeyes chicken sandwich? I mean, what's the story of that? Is it good? Does anybody eat it? Have you eaten it, Kelly?
No, I don't eat that. That would kill me.
That's a joke. I mean, Kelly's kind of has a food sensitivity thing, but anyway, sorry.
I'm allergic to bread. I'm allergic to bread. I'm not kidding. Like, so, like, if I had a Popeye, I'm sure. I mean, a lot of people say it's good. You know,
sure.
if you want some fun brands to watch on social media, I think Wendy's is a really good one to watch. They're hilarious. You know, if you want some fun brands to watch.
Yeah.
Popeyes too now. Popeyes is getting in there. Burger King, you know, and McDonald's, they always have these things happening between them. This like online rivalry thing.
So the basic rules with social media are what, Kelly, as far as branding goes? I mean, basically don't embarrass yourself. Is it really that simple?
Well, I guess you can think of someone, you know, if you have questions, you could think, would I want, you know, I mean, I guess sometimes I think, because like, you know, even with me, it's like sometimes I want to post something goofy, you know, I want to like do a snap, you know, something on Snapchat and put bunny ears on my head. And, you know, here, I guess I can switch back, or do we want to look at LinkedIn anymore? Are we done looking at this?
Does anybody have any questions about LinkedIn before we bounce out of that? Anybody? Any thoughts? Zoe? Nothing? Well informed? You good? Yeah? Okay. We can bounce.
Okay. Here's an example too. So a lot of executives will say that they're hiring. So if you follow people, you know, in the industry, say you work in hospitality, here's a guy who's co-founder of a hotel in DC. They'll put, we're hiring. Let's see, here's somebody else. So if you follow the CEOs and people, a lot of times they'll say, see, right here, Byron says we're hiring at his organization. So that's something else, you know, to keep in mind there. And you can just follow them. You don't have to connect with them. You can just follow their posts.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is LinkedIn today to getting a job?
Pretty important. You know, people are looking at it. Like I said, reporters are looking and they want to see, you know, what are you posting? I mean, that's the first place Valerie helps us with hiring. I mean, the first place she goes is LinkedIn. Like she wants, and if their LinkedIn is off, she's like, no, we're not talking to them.
Who is Valerie? Remind me who Valerie is.
She works with us. She's an HR person.
Okay, very good.
She does HR stuff. Yeah, she does HR consulting for us. Yeah.
What's your? Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask you if you had any advice or about, you know, social media in general or anything like that. Any tips?
Advice in general. Yeah, like I was saying, if I want to do, you know, it's fun to do snaps and do bunny ears and all that kind of stuff, you know. But and like sometimes I'll be like, I ask myself, would this keep me from getting clients? You know, if I do something really stupid. So I guess the thing to ask yourself is like, okay, is this okay for my mom to see, or is this okay for a potential employer to see? Is this going to like keep me from getting a job? Like in many cases, it's not, but sometimes I get a little carried away with the Snapchat. Yeah, so I'm like, is this too silly? I'm like, yeah. So I would just, you know, keep that in mind. But I mean, basically these days anything goes. I mean, for holidays, one thing I did talk to someone about recently is, you know, even after you have a job, you want to present yourself in a way that isn't going to hurt the company's image. So even if you want to like be 99% naked and like running around on Halloween, you probably don't want to post those photos anywhere where anybody's going to find them.
We have a question.
Okay.
Where did you go to school and what did you major in, Kelly?
Oh, undergrad was West Virginia University, and I studied psychology, and I studied, apparently I studied in education too. And then after that, let's see, what have I done? I did the Y Combinator School for Startups. I've done a lot of like innovation kind of stuff and entrepreneurship. So I did Y Combinator, which is like a huge thing in the startup world. I did Google Academy just so I could learn more about, you know, online ads and how Google works. We're certified with Snapchat ads, Facebook. What else? I did MIT. I did a couple of programs at MIT with entrepreneurship, negotiation, things like that. I did a program at Cornell on entrepreneurship and leadership. Yeah. So a whole bunch of different places. And if I see a certification out there, I'll just go get it. You know, or I'll ask my team, hey, who wants to help with this or who wants to do this? And let's all go get certified for Snap ads or something. Because I think the more you have, even above your bachelor's degree, all those little extra things show that, you know, you're really like motivated and like, you know, you really want this thing. And you learn stuff.
If people were interested in like joining you in the world of social media, what would your advice be?
If they want to work in social media?
Yeah, if they actually want to work in social media.
Or if they want to work with me.
Or if they would work with you. Sure, either way, whatever.
Okay, well, I definitely look for people who are interested in social media. Like, I think sometimes people think social media is just this fun thing, and it is fun, but it's also work. So when someone applies, I'll look at their social media too. So Valerie will do her initial check, but then I'll go and I'll try to snoop and look at their Facebook or whatever, because like they can tell me that they really love social, but if they're not posting news, like there's a new girl that we just hired, and I was like really excited when I looked at her personal Facebook and I saw that she's like posting things about the Instagram algorithm. And I was like, yes, this is the girl we want.
Right.
Because she's in, likes it, she's into it. She's posting other things too, like going and getting her hair done or whatever. But the fact that she's mixing in some of that industry news, I'm like, okay, she's like into it. And she's not just telling me she wants to work here because she wants a job, you know? But some people just want a job, but then you want someone who's like a super fan. Like, that I think that's what companies look for. So if you're posting industry news and things about criminal justice, economics, communications, those types of things, that's going to make recruiters really happy when they go through your timeline, because they're going to be like, oh, I want this guy, or I want this girl because look, they're on top of things and they're like into it.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions? Any other questions they'd like to ask? She is a wealth of information, so.
And I talk and I talk and I talk. You have to tell me to shut up.
Anybody else? Okay. Well, Kelly, do you have anything last to add or anything?
Not really, but like, just don't be scared. Some people are afraid to like do things, put it out there. I would just go for it. It's better to like do it and not do it 100% correctly than not do it at all.
Well, thanks again for talking to my class today. Appreciate it, Kelly. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good day. See you.
Alrighty. Bye, guys.